Okay, so um, we're going to talk about globalization and international trade. First of all, what is globalization? Basically, globalization is the interconnection and interdependence of all the countries. So slowly, all the countries are coming together and they're forming this one global economy. Not instead of having 200 very independent economies, they're creating one economy full of interdependence. Let me explain a little bit more. Let's imagine the world is like a apartment block with 200 apartments inside. Each apartment has a different culture. You've got the Italians, you've got the Chinese, the Americans, and each one has its own bathroom, kitchen, rooms, does everything itself. Then, let's imagine that the walls start disappearing. So, in the end, we've got one single house. And we start to specialise. So maybe the Italians are good at the cooking and the styles, so they focus on keeping the house nice and beautiful and do the kitchen. The Americans have got the really big, strong military, and they focus on keeping security. The English are very trusted and are very good with numbers, so they focus on the finances. And slowly, the house becomes one big community instead of 200 separate communities. And that's happening in terms of the economy. We can see this process even faster of walls disappearing with the European Union. The European Union no longer do I have to stay in Italy. I could go to France and work in France, or study in Spain, or retire in Portugal, or open a business in Greece. Suddenly, we're living together, creating one community. So this globalization is happening on an economic level. We're creating one single global economy, but it's also happening on other levels. For example, it's happening on a social level, on a cultural level and technological level, on a political level. We are developing global institutions like World Trade Organization or World Court, the International Court, social in terms of, we've all got, now it seems, we're all connected socially, we all watch the same Netflix and listen to similar music. And so we are seeing these globalization, not just in economics, but originally it started with economics more, shall we say, more the big multinationals created a kind of a multinational operation. So maybe Fiat would build the engine in Italy and do the bodywork in Brazil and put all the car together in Portugal, and it would operate on a global scale as a company. So these multinational companies really drove globalization a lot. Now, we can say, we can look at why this has happened. Why has this process of globalization happened? Well, we've always globalized ever since we came out of the caves. We've got bigger and bigger in organization. But specifically, you've got the Berlin Wall, which we can see in one of the pictures. That came down and that integrated the communist economy with the capitalist economy. And it became one economy where you can buy and sell all over the world. Or you've got the introduction to China of China into the World Trade Organization. So suddenly China's included and we can no longer keep out Chinese produce. That was a globalization. Or you've got the technology like Zoom. Suddenly we could communicate and collaborate together as one community instead of living in our little worlds, in our very separate little worlds. So that's a few ideas. But also, more specifically, it was development of technologies. Technologies really mean we can communicate, connect and collaborate together all over the world. Every single one of us. Early on, it was the multinationals that were able to do this. They had the technology. But now every single individual can connect and collaborate and open a bank account in Germany or order something from a shop or a website, a factory in China, or, sell something on eBay to someone in England. So now we've got the technologies and we can really act globally, like as if there's no distance between us. The walls was always distance and time, but now in real time we can collaborate and connect as if there weren't any distance or time lag between us. But also we can speak a single language, and that was very globalizing. Suddenly we were able to communicate and collaborate because of that. That spread of English was very globalizing. Now, we have here the introduction of the Soviet Union economic system into the Western capitalist system. Incredibly, that's when the world became one single economy instead of two. Now, what we find, as in our analogy of the house, we organize ourselves not according to our space anymore, but according to our role. What we have found with the global economy, each country finds its specialization according to its cultural difference. For example, Italians have a specific history and a specific position in the world, geographic position, and they have developed this very expert competence on style and beauty and lifestyle. So Italy has become quite specialized in that, in design, in clothes, in food, in architecture. Anything Italian has a strong value in terms of design, car design. Japan instead has developed a specialization in robotics. It was a very small country in comparison to the quantity of people, and it didn't have the natural resources for each person, so it had to really develop the competencies, the intellectual competencies of its population, and it developed that in the robotic field, whereas China has a lot of people who are maybe very disciplined, but not so high. Early on, they weren't so highly educated, and so they became a bit the factory of the world. The Middle East is where the oil is. So each region has its specialization in this global economy. We are acting as a global economy, and each part have their specialization, need to find its role. This is a natural process. Again, it's not influenced by the governments, but more by businesses looking for opportunities and understand what it can offer with the human resources that exist in, let's imagine, Italy. You know, what can it export? Here you've got some pictures on the lower right. We can see the Italians with the lifestyle and the design and the, you know, they can really add value. Think of a Ferrari. Ferrari cars, it's just a car in the end, but it's can be worth up to $500,000. So the amount of value added just for its beauty, for the brand image. And then you've got the Middle East with the oil to the left. We've got the top right, the Chinese, very disciplined workforce operating a factory, and then you've got robotics in Japan. So these are all the different specializations.